Hello everyone and welcome back to the Synergy Sanctum. My name is Justin. Thank you so much for stopping by. Here at the Synergy Sanctum, we specialize in all things related to Magic the Gathering, with a specific focus on deck building. So I aim to show you very quick deck techs that'll show you all of the cards in the deck and how they work together to ultimately achieve the goals of that deck. If you're not already, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate that. And we also have a sister channel now, so head on over to Commander Coliseum and check out their content as well. And for today's deck tech, we have Tannuk Steadfast Second, a recently spoiled Edge of Eternities commander here, mono red, Synergy Sanctum's favorite color, and this guy is broken. So the goal of this deck is to use Tannuk's ability of being able to warp in artifact cards and red creature cards from your hand onto the field. They're going to have haste because Tannuk's giving him haste, so you're going to get a free attack, you're going to get enter the battlefield triggers, and then they're going to go away, but they're going to be exiled, and you can cast them for their mana cost on a later turn. So very similar builds with Feldon of the Third Path and Ortheon Hero of Lavabrink, but I think Tannuk is breaking this right now. So we've got a TCG market value of this deck of $431 to $528. We are running land count of 35 lands, with 26 of those being mountains and 9 of those being non-basics. So we're going to dive into this and see how we can break Tannuk and have a Edge of Eternities commander that's just destroying the table. So what monsters are we going to warp in? Well, we are going to warp in all of the bad boys that exist in mono red and the scary artifacts that we can. Main guy in the deck's a Blightsteel Colossus. Just a Blightsteel Colossus coming out as early as turn 1 with the mana that we have in this deck is disgusting. We're running all of the expected dragons in mono red that either have ETB abilities or have crazy combat abilities. So Ancient Copper Dragon's getting you treasures off of the roll of the D20. Scourge of the Throne's getting you an extra combat. Terror of the Peaks is doing damage off of ETBs. Nullspine Dragon, if it's later in the game, you can draw a bunch of cards. Balefire's torching your opponent's board. Draguset's getting attack triggers. Trumpeting Carnosaur's letting you discover 5 when it enters. Just tons of broken stuff here. Dragon Mage is doing wheels as well. And then more space warping, more focused on the artifacts now. So we've got Blightsteel's friend who's not as mean, Darksteel Colossus. Portal to Phyrexia, because Tannuk does care about the artifacts, is really good here. So you're going to get to warp this in for 3 mana, and everyone's going to have to sack 3 creatures. Then it goes away, and you can do it again later. So good. Meteor Golem to destroy a permanent. Ancient Stone Idol's just a big, scary 12/12 trample. We've got Steel Hellkite, because it'll probably connect, and you can destroy permanents that way. Duplicant for exile. Cybermen Squadron, I feel like, is so good in this deck, and someone called it out in the comments on the short that I posted, but he's giving non-legendary artifact creatures Myriad. So if he is getting warped out, then you are going to be able to swing a Blightsteel at everybody, which is just so disgusting. In addition to that, we're running other good stuff in the deck that kind of synergizes with this whole go away at end step thing. So Sundial of the Infinite, you can end the turn and then keep the guy that's getting warped in. Sneak Attack is letting you do this as well, so you could pay a red and put something in, similar to Tannuk. Perforos is doing the same thing, but it's only red or artifact creature cards, and you have to pay 3 mana for that. We mentioned them earlier, but Ortheon and Feldon are in the deck because they synergize with this whole losing creatures or creating copies that go away at end step. We've got Panharmonicon to double up on those ETB triggers, and Ilharg is bringing in a friend off of attacks, so you kind of get a double value there if you're going to use Tannuk to put the Ilharg the Raise Boar in. And then here are our mana rocks. So I do want to call out the one that's going to kind of get this done on turn 1. So if you play a Mountain turn 1 into the Soul Ring, which then goes into a Lotus Petal, you can use the Lotus Petal mana for the additional red and the 2 from Soul Ring to cast a Jeska's Will as early as turn 1. Everybody has 7 cards in hand, so you're going to get 7 mana, which allows you to play Tannuk and then immediately warp in whatever big scary guy you have in your hand on turn 1. Throne of Eldraine is a mana rock, but it also can work for this warp ability to gain you a mana because it taps for 4. And then we're running other similar rocks with Gilded Lotus, Scepter of Eternal Glory, and Arcane Signet. And then there's even more mana in the deck, so we're running Ruby Medallion and the Fire Crystal because the Warp is casting a spell, so this discounts that Warp cost even more, making it for 2 mana. We've got Solemn to fetch lands, Runaway Steamkin to get counters and make us mana, all of the expected rituals in red to get additional red mana, extra Planner Lens to double up your mountains, and then Collector's Vault is giving you the draw on the discard, but it's also making a treasure token. And then we're running a ton of draw on the deck just because you're probably going to play out your whole hand on a warp turn. So you want to be able to replenish that hand. So we're running all of the expected cards in red that are going to let you draw at the cost of a discard. And then the ones that give you treasures when you do that, like Unexpected Windfall and Big Score. Glimpse the Impossible is netting you some spawns if you end up not playing those cards. And then we've got some tutors as well. So we can go tutor the big scary guy we want out of our deck with Gamble and Reckless Handling if you're going to choose an artifact. And then removal in the deck, we're running Deflecting Swat so we can redirect some removal that's coming at Tannuk and go elsewhere. We're running Blasphemous Act and then targeted removal with Chaos Warp, Guff Rewrites History, and Zoyowa's Justice. All 3 of these can also be used for your own creatures as well. So if you don't want to risk losing it to either Ortheon or Feldon or even Tannuk, you can target your own creature when it comes in off of the Warp and then replace that with something out of the deck. Specifically, if you choose Guff Rewrites History, he's letting you get a non-land permanent out of the deck, and the deck is running heavy on creatures, so it's more likely you'll hit one of those. And with that, our show has come to an end. Thank you so much for watching our video, and if you enjoyed that video, feel free to share it out with any friends who might find value in it as well. Thank you so much for stopping by. We hope to see you again soon. Have a good one.